tell me about that transition from playing in the league to mentoring and impacting kids in your home city, your home state.
Well, when I played, I always had a program. Once I entered the NBA, 2003, basically in 2004, I always had a program that I pretty much sponsored. I wasn't really involved in it. My dad ran my program and really focused on kids that just didn't have those opportunities and couldn't play on a lot of elite teams. So my dad had this structure of being able to just give any kid opportunity, and he helped a lot of kids get to junior college, and also had a couple guys crack Division I. And from there, when I retired, unexpectedly in 2012, with my last incident of being paralyzed for a moment with the Spurs, man, I came home and I was a guy who always kind of controlled the runs here in Houston. Man, we had a couple kids that was in the gym training with us at the school I was using at the time, and I knew that they came up under the Nike Houston Hoops umbrella throughout, a kid, and I knew that they wasn't going to be able to play on those guys' main 17U team. So I decided to just take those kids that we was training every day and told them if they could find some players, I'll sponsor it. And I just revamped my whole program of what my dad was operating, and I just brought it to basically Houston and revamped it and really got involved and just started training a bunch of kids and giving back, my knowledge that I had of the game. And man, it's just something that took a life of its own. And 11 years later, I'm still operating, I'm still involved, I'm still traveling with kids, still coaching kids. And, right before, we hopped on this Zoom, I had 2 or 3 kids send me that they graduated. And so it's more of a mentorship, it's more of a leadership. And the best way for me to share my knowledge and share my experiences, obviously through the game of basketball. And that's how I'm able to, fine-tune these young men that's being successful coming through our program, getting these lessons and just being around good, positive energy.
You decided after 2 years to declare for the draft in 2003 because you felt that there was nothing else that you had to prove. That speaks volumes. At what point in your life or your career do you just wake up and say, I have nothing else to prove, specifically when you were in college?
Man, I've been having something to prove my whole life. I was always told I was too small, right? I was always told, I couldn't shoot it. Even though I knew that I was a top 15, top 20 kid my entire time in high school with all these different rankings. We was really a guard-heavy class of 2001, right? Carlos Hurt, Mo Williams, Aaron Miles, DeWarren Wagner, Carlos Hurt. That's just to name a few guys that Chris Thomas. So we was really guard heavy with guys being ranked really high, but I was never really considered the best point guard of everybody of all. So my motivation was always to be number one and show people that I was the best in the world. So me attending the University of Texas and being able to change a program and impact a program at the level that I did, that was all part of the vision between myself and Rick Barnes at that time. Man, it's just one of those things where, I knew I wasn't going to stay in school the whole time. I think for me, I came into college and won Freshman Player of the Year. They didn't really have those type of awards in place then, but, I dominated college basketball as a freshman, and I knew that I didn't work as hard as I could have. And I kind of just did that straight off of talent. And when the season was over, I just got with Coach Barnes and we talked, and I just said, like, man, I did that with not even working hard. Imagine if I really worked hard and put myself in a position to hopefully be a number 1, number 2, number 3 draft pick. And that was kind of the plan for me going into my sophomore season, was to, try to be a top 3 pick. That was my ultimate goal.
And you entered the 2003 draft. I remember that like yesterday, but it's so funny because I see a lot of memes on Instagram where they show you with those long shorts. And then I don't know if you recently saw that State Farm commercial with Chris Paul wearing the long shorts. Jalen Rose is there in it, and he's like, man, those were the days. You saw the announcers with shorts. Did you see that commercial?
Nah, but State Farm need to call me and let me be the one that kind of, break the ice right there with the shorts. So they got the wrong guy on that script there. But nah, man, pretty funny story. That photo is recirculates every year, through social media. the impact of that photo. It gives a good laugh, but it also every year, man, it gives me an opportunity to engage with the new up and coming athletes that's entering the NBA, because it's these young guys' first time seeing that photo. So for those guys to see that and laugh, it gives me a good way to break the ice with the players when I'm personally get to meet them here, like once they get drafted and go through the rookie transitional programs that the NBA and the NBPA put kids through. So it's been great for allowing me to, 20 years later, to still have guys talking about me, mentioning my name, and just showing me a lot of respect, man. It's more than a blessing, man. I'm very grateful for that. So not many people still being remembered, 10 years, 20 years, without even touching the basketball anymore. So for me, it just shows the impact I have, but it also shows that, man, it's a lot of grandmas, a lot of granddads, a lot of uncles, aunts, moms and dads that's still talking about, the impact that I had on them as a basketball player, watching me play. So, man, to still continue to get that love around the world, man, it keeps me going, man. It does, keep my psyche and my mental in a good place and a good space.
I gotta ask about those shorts again. I heard everything you said. What size shorts were those in that photo?
Man, I don't know. So listen, I still have these shorts, and the jersey is just as long as the shorts, right?
Okay.
And so what happened is, when we did the rookie transition program, we was in New York City, and one of those days they had everything set up like it was a regular media day, right? You have all these different stations, and they was passing out all the guys' uniform, and man, that's the uniform my equipment guy sent us at the time, man. So when they pulled that thing out, I'm like, what is this? Right? And it's like, it's what the team sent. That's all we got. It's either you put it on or you just will miss out on all the photos with your rookie cards, being on the video games. I was like, no way. No way. Every kid look forward to being on the video game and have your rookie playing card. So for me, man, I just made the best of it and had a lot of fun with it. But now when I look back at it, man, it was one of the greatest blessings in the world to have those big shorts. And I'm trying to recreate it. I'm trying to get my sons to do it, man. But they don't want to. They're kind of a little timid about doing it. So I'm gonna try to pull it off and redo the photo just 20 years, 10 years later.
TJ, that's a Halloween photo 20 years later.
For sure. I mean, it's crazy, but it's crazy, man. It's crazy to see it on basketball cards. It's crazy to still see people talking about it. Thank God for social media, right? Instagram, the Twitters, Facebooks, keeping it alive. And like I said, man, it's a funny photo that I don't think gets old, man. Every year it's a good laugh.
So the Bucks drafted you 8 in 2003.
Yep.
You look back at the 2003, LeBron went first. When you went through that process, were there any other teams higher up that you remember saying, we might take you if you're there?
Well, Toronto Raptors, it was either going to be me or Chris Bosh. I know coming into the draft, I came into the draft hurt. I got experience for the first time of being paralyzed right before the draft. So that's why I ended up dropping 8. Obviously, I was supposed to be a top 5 pick. Mm-hmm. But Toronto was the choice, whether I was going to either be me or Chris Bosh. That was something that was talked about the entire time. And I think it was very obvious and very easy for them to make a decision once I was had my injury, right when my college season was over.
From your perspective, how has the culture shifted from when you played in Milwaukee to present day Milwaukee with Middleton, Giannis, and others? Like, what have you noticed has changed?
Well, I mean, just expectations, right? When I came in, these teams was lottery pick teams, wasn't expecting to make the playoffs. And, we was able to turn the corner in my rookie year pretty fast at making the playoffs. And, so I'll just look at the style of basketball. I look at, the amount of staff that they have now for guys, right? So when you look at getting treatment, being able to have rest days, being able to have all these different technologies that gives you a better idea to understand your body, and also give the medical staff a better idea of how your body operates. I think I think that part of my career I could have used and enhanced my endurance of being an NBA basketball player. I played a lot of games hurt. I was always kind of banged up, dealing with my back, dealing with my spine. I feel like in today's technology and amount of rest, the guys get with not having to practice 2.5, 3 hours every day. I think it would have done my body very, very well, and possibly, could have had a longer career. So when I look at it from that standpoint, I look at the medical part of it, right? We played through injuries. It was a lot of ice and stem and heat packs. I think now, medically, obviously, the science that they have behind it now, it's allowing guys to be more productive, allowing guys to be able to rest a lot more. We didn't have a lot of those rest days like these guys have now.